how are you? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today, I'm going to read another book like the one the other day in the same series. So the other day it was Iggy Peck, Architect, and today I'm reading Ada Twist, Scientist. And so this one is by the same author, Audrey Beatty, and it's illustrated by the same illustrator, David Roberts. So let's go ahead and get started. Ada Twist, Scientist. Ada Marie, said not a word till the day she turned 3. She bounced in her crib and she looked all around, observing the world, but not making a sound. She learned how to climb and made her big break with a trail of chaos left in her wake. She ran through the day, chasing each sound and sight, and didn't slow down till she conked out at night, meaning she falls asleep. Her parents were frazzled but tried not to freak as Ada grew bigger and still did not speak. Clearly young Ada, with lots in her head, would have something to say when it ought to be said. I'll show you this page. That's just what happened when Ada turned 3. She tore through the house on a fact-finding spree and climbed up the clock just as high as she could. Her parents yelled, "Stop!" as all good parents would. Ada's chin quivered, meaning it shook, but she did not cry. She took a deep breath and simply asked why. Why does it tick and why does it talk? Why don't we call it a granddaughter clock? Why are there pointy things stuck to a rose? Why are there hairs up inside your nose? She started with why and then what, how, and when. By bedtime, she came back to why once again. She drifted to sleep as her dazed parents smiled at the curious thoughts of their curious child, who wanted to know what the world was about. They kissed her and whispered, "You'll figure out." You see lots of pictures on this page. Her parents kept up with their high-flying kid, whose questions and chaos both grew as she did. Remember, if you want to see a picture, you can pause it, right, and see it for a little longer. Even Miss Greer found her hands quite full when young Ada's chaos wreaked havoc at school. But this was much clearer about Miss Ada Twist. She had all the traits of a great scientist. Ada was busy that first day of spring, testing the sounds that made mockingbirds sing, when a horrible stench whacked her right in the nose, a pungent aroma that curled her toes. "Zowie," said Ada, which got her thinking, "what is the source of that terrible stinking? And does it still stink if there's no nose to tell?" She rattled off questions and tapped on her chin. She started at the start where she ought to begin. A mystery, a riddle, a puzzle, a quest. This was the moment that Ada loved best. Ada did research to learn all she could of smelling and smells, both the stinky and good. One hypothesis Ada thought could be true. The terrible stink came from Dad's cabbage stew. She tasted and tested, but soon Ada knew it was time to come up with hypothesis 2. Then zowie, the stink struck again just like that. Hypothesis 2, it's caused by the cat. The cat couldn't make such a stink on its own. It needed perfume and some fancy cologne. So Ada tested and the test was a flop. She started again, but her parents yelled, "Stop!" Ada Marie, to the thinking chair now. By the time we count 3. "Enough," said her mother. "That's it," said her dad. Her parents were frustrated, frazzled, and mad. Why? Ada questioned. Her mother said no. What? Ada questioned. Her father said go. You've ruined our supper. You've made the cat stink. Enough with your questions. Now sit there and think. She looked at her parents. Her heart turned to goo. Poor Ada Twist just didn't know what to do. She sat all alone by herself in the hall, and Ada once more could say nothing at all. And so Ada sat, and she sat, and she sat, and she thought about science and Stu and the cat, and how her experiments made such a big mess. Does it have to be so? Is that part of the success? Are messes a problem? And while she was thinking, what was the source of that terrible stinking? Ada Marie did what scientists do. She asked a small question, and then she asked two. And each of those led her to 3 questions more, and some of those questions resulted in 4. As Ada got thinking, she really dug in. She scribbled her questions and tapped on her chin. She started at why, and then what, and how, and when, and at the end of the hall, she reached why once again. Okay, I want you to make a prediction of what is gonna happen. So go ahead and pause the video for 1 second and make a prediction now. Her parents calmed down and they came back to talk. They looked at the hallway and just had to gawk. That means like to stare and just have no idea what to say. No patch of their paint could be seen on the wall. The thinking chair now was the great thinking hall. They watched their young daughter and sighed as they did. What would they do with this curious kid who wanted to know what the world was about? They smiled and whispered, "We'll figure it out." And that's what they did, because that's what you do when your kid has a passion and a heart that is true. They remade their world, and now they're all in the act of helping young Ada sort fiction from fact. She asked a lot of questions. How could she resist? It's all in the heart of a young scientist. And as for that smell, what could Ada Twist do but learn all she can with her friends in grade 2? What will they discover? The stink that curls toes? Well, that is the question, and someday, who knows? Okay, so like I said, these are all books in a series. They have the same author, right? They're all written and illustrated by the same person, but they're a little different each story, right? The first one we read, Iggy Peck Architect, right, was about a boy named Iggy who wanted to design buildings and draw them as much as he could, right? And then we just read Ada Twist Scientist, right, about a little girl who just needed to know everything about the world, which a lot of you are like that too. You're always asking why, which is a great thing to do. So I want to try something out now. I have the last 2 books in this series. We have Sophia Valdez, Future Prez, or Rosie Revere, Engineer. So I'm gonna have you leave me a comment below this video telling me if you think I should read Sophia Valdez, Future Prez next, or if you think we should read Rosie Revere, Engineer next. Okay, so that's all I have for today. I hope you're all having a really good week, and right, we're social distancing, which means we're staying 6 feet away from people, but that doesn't mean that you still can't go on a walk with your family, or maybe sit outside if your parents are okay with that and get some great sunshine, because it's been so nice today. Keep watching Class Dojo, okay? Soon we are going to be able to video chat with each other. We're trying to find a way to do that now, okay? So just tell your parents to keep checking on Class Dojo, and we're really excited to see you guys soon. Okay, well, have a great weekend. Have a safe weekend. I'm going to try to post more this weekend. So keep an eye out. Okay, bye, friends.